Let us move, boys, to our third and final featured bout on the main card, and the one that may produce our next bantamweight number one contender, as we have number 2, Merab Dvalishvili versus number 3, Henry Cejudo. And let us lead with the Georgian, Merab Dvalishvili, who comes in riding an 8-fight win streak. His last win came in March of last year, where he defeated Piotr Jan by unanimous decision, where he also broke the UFC record for most takedowns attempted in a fight with 49, and that just almost doesn't even seem real to me. Like, that is just insane.
Call that spamming when you're playing the game.
Yeah. Merab did spend most of last year recovering from a surgery to the hand, and with his teammate Aljamain Sterling heading 10 pounds north, the path to the title is right in front of him if he can get through the former champ and Triple C himself, Henry Cejudo. The former flyweight and bantamweight champ Cejudo returned last year after a 3-year stint with retirement. In his return, he faced bantamweight GOAT Aljamain Sterling, where he lost by split decision. That was his first loss in 7 fights, so it's no surprise to me that he's essentially getting another big shot to get right back in the title picture, because make no mistake, I do believe if he wins, we will see Triple C in another championship bout, possibly as soon as this year. But I feel that for either guy, obviously. I still know we have Sandhagen, who is returning from injury, but outside of him, these guys are the clear-cut next contenders in my book. So with that, Brandon, who you like?
This one was really tough for me to pick for. They're both obviously grapplers. Henry has the bigger accolades with the Olympic medal, but as far as it translates to MMA, man, I'm putting a lot of stock into that last fight with Cejudo and Aljamain. Aljamain was able to take Cejudo down 4 times in that fight. Now, the fight itself was close. I leaned Aljamain as far as winning, but if Aljamain can take you down 4 times, I don't see any reason why Merab, who shoots way more often, can't also do the same. Now, in that fight with Piotr, there was 11 landed takedowns, and a lot of that fight was Piotr getting up and then Merab taking him down again. I see this fight going in a very similar direction. Mighty Mouse had some success grappling with Cejudo as well. I think Merab gets it done here via wrestling. I think he's going to be a wet blanket that Cejudo is going to have to deal with the entire time. If Cejudo opens up with his hands a little bit more, which is what I thought he was lacking in the Aljamain fight, I think he has success, and especially with his kicks. He's got to use his kicks and use his hands, but Merab is not an easy guy to do that with. So I'm going to take Merab here. I feel like I've been going decision lately. That's like 2 decisions in a row, but I kind of feel like decision is the answer here as well. I'm going to take Merab. I'm going to say by decision. I think he wet blankets Cejudo and gets it done.
Yeah, it's funny for me because, for the Leon Colby fight, one of my arguments against Colby winning that fight was, at this level of mixed martial arts, you have to be able to do more than just kind of weaponize your pace and cardio. But Merab may be the argument against that at the same time, because
it's an X factor, man.
Dude, I mean, he just does seem to, at least to this point, kind of defy what is humanly possible in terms of output. Even going back to that Piotr Jan fight, I think on commentary they were like, this is like an impossible pace to keep for 5 rounds, yet he did it. And he's so good at just smothering guys that it almost just seems to kind of disorient his opponents. I certainly felt that in the Piotr Jan fight, because he's just kind of always walking forward. They don't even have a chance to reset, and his striking isn't the best, but he's just good at just constantly putting things in guys' faces, and switching up the timing between his punches and takedowns. So, he's like, bop, bop, takedown, and then he'll go like, bop, takedown, then he'll just walk and shoot a naked takedown. Or, it's just like he's constantly switching up that rhythm, and it's just so tough, and I really think it just confuses opponents because they never know what's coming. And when you look at Cejudo, who I know was coming off a 3-year layoff against who may be the greatest bantamweight of all time in Aljo, it was always going to be tough, right? And even like Brandon saying with the takedowns, like I totally agree that Aljo made it look easy, but Aljo's also a lot bigger, a lot stronger, I would probably guess, than Merab, but nonetheless, still gave Cejudo a lot of problems. But I do think, at least to me, that we did see a bit of regression in the game of Henry Cejudo from the Cruz to the Aljo fight. And Henry is a guy who he needs, kind of what Brandon's saying, he needs to come forward to really be successful on the feet. He needs to let the hands go. And when Aljo had the most success in their fight, it was when in the striking was when Aljo was coming forward and getting Henry to move backwards. And I just don't see a guy like Merab giving Henry an inch in this fight. And I do think Henry is one of the smartest minds in this game, and I think he will come fully ready with the right game plan for Merab. But can he go out and deliver at this stage? I'm just not so sure. And for that reason, I have to pick Merab. I, too, see this going to a decision. Either way, I think whoever wins, I see a decision for either guy. But Brandon picking the Merab decision. So let's go. I will take Merab Dvalishvili. Since I can't get my decision, I'm going to go real bold here. I'm going to say second round, spinning back fist, KO TKO finish for Merab.
Nice.
He's going old school, baby.
Yeah, man, I think this fight's going to be interesting, but there's a lot of things that go against Cejudo for this for me. One, obviously, being losing to the main training partner of the guy you're fighting again.
Tough, yeah.
So he knows. I mean, Merab basically played the role of Cejudo probably that whole camp. So he knows some of those tendencies because they looked at him. Like you guys were talking about the spamming of the takedowns. But the other thing is, this will be the first time in 6 fights that Cejudo's not fighting for a belt. He's not doing 5 rounds. So you don't get those extra 2. So if Merab gets up early on these takedowns, you don't have the championship rounds to try to lean on to hope that maybe your cardio's there or to open up something. And I think that's going to be the problem. Merab only having 3 rounds, or knowing he only has to do 3 rounds, is probably going to do 20 takedown attempts around, even if he's not getting them. If you go back to like the Aldo fight, Aldo was able to stuff a lot of those takedowns, but in between, Aldo wasn't able to get nothing off because he's always constantly battling a takedown. And I think, especially in a 3-round fight, it's going to be really hard for Cejudo to go up against. But then also, I'm not a big fan of Cejudo's kind of like mentality in this of like, oh, well, if I lose, I'm probably just going to retire. Like, it does feel a little 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and we know that can be very dangerous at the top level here. And Merab knows that this is his chance. A win gets him the Sean O'Malley fight. I'd have to think with his streak that he's been on and the kind of build up it's already had a little bit with the jacket. Hopefully he wears that if that happens. And I just really like Merab, man. Online, he's probably one of the funnier guys. If you see a video of him, just remember the one of him like walking by people fighting, and he's just like holding his phone up. And I don't know. I just really like to see him get the win, and I just don't know if Cejudo's going to have enough. So I too liked Merab by decision. So I'm going to take Merab by 3rd round TKO. I think that he can wear on Cejudo and maybe land some big shots, kind of how he did with the Marlon Moraes fight.
And I'll add one more thing. I would love to see a return of the leg kicks in Henry's game.
Yeah.
You know, he had so much success with them against Cruz. Did you say this? Did you touch on this?
No.
Okay, I thought you may have said it. I know you probably don't want to offer your leg to a guy like Merab and put it out there, but if you're Cejudo, you know the takedowns are coming regardless, right?
Yeah.
So you may as well just get on those legs early to try to at least possibly slow Merab down in those attacks for the later rounds, because like we're all sitting here saying we think this thing's going long. So invest in that early if you're Cejudo, even if it gets you taken down a little bit.
He can land a good knee up the middle or something too. Like he does have sneaky stuff. It's just he's going to have to do it early, because if he thinks that he can wait until, the middle of the second into the third to try to turn it up on Merab, it's just not going to work.